TO Blaze.
Hey there, this is Tio bringing another Kerbal Space Program video, and this is the first video in a little series that I'm planning to do. I've already done anomalies in a previous video. I think it was mostly focused on like how to use KerbNet and what anomalies are and that sort of thing, but that video's been out for a while, and I figured I can maybe rehash some of the same information and talk a little bit about it right now. So for those that don't know, anomalies, as the name implies, are mysterious objects scattered throughout the Kerbal Space System. There's a lot on Kerbin. There's I think a little less on the Mun. There's probably a couple on Minmus, and then the further you go out, there's some planets have at least one or two. Some moons have some, and then some have none. I believe, like Gilly, for instance. I don't believe Gilly has any anomalies. So, in order to find anomalies, you need a probe core that has a signal back to the KSC, and I think that's mostly the requirement. Not every probe core has the same chance to detect anomalies. Obviously, the more expensive, the more advanced probe cores typically have a better chance. So there's specs online. You can find the different probe cores and their chance to detect things. So here you see I've accessed KerbNet using the probe core. There's the button there, KerbNet Access. So you click on that, and you can cycle through the different view modes. There I was just going through. There's resource mode, there's topography. I'm not sure, I don't remember what the third one is, but you set the field of view, which kind of determines how much of the area below you can detect the anomalies from. And depending on the probe core, I think there's like something like a 30% chance, give or take, that you will detect an anomaly for that given day on Kerbin. So if you don't detect an anomaly on a pass, don't give up. You can always time warp a whole extra day, and I believe it resets. Another thing to consider is obviously your orbital path. Not all the anomalies will be along the equator, which is where I'm roughly kind of looking. I think I did incline my orbit a little bit just in case. So if you do incline your orbit, that gives you a chance to detect anomalies across a wider range or a wider area on the planet's surface, because obviously the planet is rotating under your orbit, so you're always going to pass over a different area. So there you see my first anomaly. I'll just it's a little question mark that appears on the map. I went ahead and added a waypoint there. I do know that Kerbin has a bunch of anomalies that are basically just tracking stations for the KerbNet, or for the what do you call it, the relay network, the deep space network, whatever it's called. So I'm gonna look for multiple anomalies. I'm looking for a specific target coordinate. So you can look online if you're interested, or you want to, not look online. You can just do what I'm doing now and just see what you can find. But I do want to look for specific targets just because that's what I'm interested in for this series. So looking for specific coordinates for this anomaly. I mean, the video title's probably going to show it. It's going to be the Inland Space Center, which is what I thought was a pretty unique, interesting place to go and visit on Kerbin. So there you see I set my waypoint. I know what that question mark on the map is going to be, just because the internet told me so. So something that I'll probably focus on more in other videos, which is the coordinates and how to use the coordinate system. It is still kind of challenging for me, especially in the next video. You'll see I definitely trip up a little bit. So on Kerbin, I've got the opportunity to use air breathing engines, so that's definitely what I'm going to do. I think in most of the other videos, obviously, I'm going to need to be using rockets and things in space, but for now, I get to build a jet, so that's what you see me doing on screen. My plan is to send my Kerbal to the anomaly, get out, walk around, plant the flag specifically, and then I'll probably leave the flags just for funsies, but I'm not really going to leave too much else. As a matter of fact, I think in all the other videos, it'll definitely be part of the mission to take everything back with me, because I don't always do that in some of my videos. Usually I'll leave things in orbit, but I think half the fun is seeing if I can get everything back to the KSC, or at least back to Kerbin. So there you see I'm building my little rover. I've got a special custom flag for anomalies. That's one thing I did before recording this series. I thought maybe I can create a custom flag, so when I go and plant the flag, it'll be an anomaly flag. Kind of cool, right? This is the first time I had played KSC in a while. A lot of my footage from my recent videos is somewhat old, except for the I think the last couple are pretty fresh. But anyway, I hadn't had a lot of recent practice building jets, so I was kind of a little disappointed in myself with the design of this craft. It's not super fancy. I do like to build things that are kind of unique. There you see I even forgot to put the air breathing parts so that the engines could function in atmosphere. So there's a few other parts of this jet that I'm not too happy with. So you'll see later in the video. Hopefully, I kind of redeem myself. So this trip to the inland KSC, you gotta go over the mountain, the ocean there, and across the mountain ranges. It's a pretty far little trek. And as we get closer, probably time warp a little bit less so you guys could see. Didn't focus too much on the coordinates, but if you guys are interested, you can look them up. This one, the Inland Space Center, it's 20 degrees, 40 minutes north, 146 degrees, 28 minutes west. So that didn't mean much to me. I had to go and look up how to use those coordinates. But anyway, so we made it to the inland KSC. There you see, I forgot to put a ladder on my jet, so I had to lower the landing gear to make sure that I could actually get jet back into the jet. Now I'm gonna drive around the KSC or the inland KSC rather, and give it a little look. One thing that's really cool about this anomaly, it does actually function as a space center. You can't launch from here, but you can recover vehicles from here for full credits on career mode, which is kind of interesting. So I'm gonna go ahead and get back in my rover, try to get back to my jet, flip the rover, which is no bueno, and I can't flip it back. That was poor planning on my part, so I went ahead and set it to debris. I can recover it again for full credits, and I'm going to send the jet to pick up Bill. I'm sorry, pick up Jeb. Bill is in the jet currently. And yeah, probably park the jet somewhere nearby and recover that as well. Didn't plan my fuel very well. 7,000 meters per second. I could probably make it back to the KSC with a fuel efficient trajectory, but I went ahead and recovered it. So here's where I'm going to try to redeem myself. Again, I like to make my videos a little interesting. Wasn't super happy with how simple the jet was. So I'm fixing a couple of the design mistakes. I'm adding solar panels to the rover and the jet itself. I don't think the jet needs electricity to function because it ran out of power when I time warped earlier when I was sitting on the ground. So anyway, it's good to have solar panels just in case. And here you see what makes this design a little more unique. I definitely wanted to build something a little bigger, fancier, cooler with something unique. So building basically disposable lower stage with air breathing engines and liquid fuel so that I can get the jet all the way to the anomaly fully fueled. And then from there I can go and visit other anomalies. I can make it all the way back to the KSC. Basically just trying to keep the video interesting. Something really, really funny happens with this particular jet here in a moment that you're going to see. So like I said, I hadn't had a whole lot of practice building jets since the last time I played, so this is a walk down memory lane. Typical things with jets, you want to make sure your center of lift is near the center of mass, but not on it. Usually a little bit behind it's a good idea. You also want to make sure your back landing legs are not quite on your center of gravity, but a little bit behind that as well. You always want to make sure your landing legs are level with each other. Make sure you have enough lifting surfaces for the amount of mass you're trying to move. So this thing's got enough lift to get off the ground at the KSC. Some of the wings obviously have more lift. Some of them give you more control in flight. Sometimes you need to add those control surfaces. Sometimes I just add what looks cool, but I also kind of got to feel over time for what works and what doesn't work so well. There you see I'm putting the air breathing engines. I'm not going to forget that. And yeah, I was tempted to put some cargo in that cargo bay, but I decided against it because, again, it's probably going to be disposable. And here you see a new feature. So like I was looking at my footage from the original part of the mission, I was very unsatisfied with my lack of creativity, and so I created a second flag. So the mission flag is for when I get to the anomalies, and I'll throw down my anomaly flag. But all the vehicles are personalized to me. So I've got 2 young kids, my wife, and myself. We have lots of opportunities throughout life to lose shit. So I have been affectionately dubbed the Finder. Every time I find something around the house that the kids have lost, as payment, they must, in fact, call me the Finder, and I do a little happy dance. So, went ahead and made a flag for that, and that's kind of the motto for my Kerbinauts throughout this whole series. That's going to be me, the Finder. I'm just going to go and find things. So, there you saw the wings on the jet broke off. This thing was going a little too fast, apparently. I thought that was kind of funny. But yeah, I made it back to the KSC. Not a whole much else to show you. The engines actually broke off right there. on the jet, apparently this whole mission was doomed to failure. So hope you guys are going to enjoy the series. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing some of the other anomalies. I've never seen this one before, so if you haven't seen it either, go ahead and find it, give it a look. Yeah, hopefully going to be a fun series. And like I said, looking forward to some of the other anomalies. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, please do like the video, leave a comment. I like to respond on my comments. I definitely appreciate you for tuning in, and I'll